So my name's Yile for those that have not met me before. I'm in New Zealand, and this is Conversations with, and it's conversations with people I know who are kind of like exploring consciousness like I am. And I just find it fascinating that there are similar people on their path who do not only just one thing, but many different things to, I guess, help navigate their way through life. So this first episode, like I'm joined with by Karen Jones, who's all over from Vegas, and I met her on a sound healing course, and she has sent me through her details and bio, and I'll post this on my website. But your bio is just amazing, and it doesn't even cover what I know you do. So you're like a professional vocalist, and you have been for over 25 years, and mainly kind of playing in the jazz scene, but you're kind of probably dabble in a lot of genres.
Yes.
But not only that, you play in access consciousness, you play with sound, you do poetry. Oh my goodness, how did you get from wherever you started to where you are now? Tell us a bit about, like, what is it you do?
It's like such a huge question. Wow. Yeah, how did I get started? Well, I think it happens a lot of times that we have our tragic moments in life that take you on your path. Usually things that pull your attention. So my sister, who was older than I was, she was born with congenital heart disease and also had a hole in her heart that progressively grew as she grew. And so I remember her being sick a lot when I was growing up. And when I was 6 years old, she finally succumbed to the size of the hole in her heart. It couldn't be repaired. They didn't have the technology then to give her a new heart. I think it was about 5 years later that they finally did adults, and then maybe 8 or 9 years later that they finally had a successful heart transplant for children. So that passing of my sister was a pretty big event in our family life. And it brought me to asking a lot of questions, which started to really begin the whole evolution of what the heck is this life? Who am I? And what happens when you die? And what are the mysteries? Why doesn't science know the answer to this? And those kind of questions that really were provocative for me on so many levels. And I did start asking, so what does happen when you die? My mom, who's a very wise woman, who is my dear friend, still alive, God bless her, she's 89 years old. She said to me when I was a kid, I think I asked like 2 years later, but she said to me, when you die, there are two schools of thought. One is that you go to heaven and there are angels and they sing and la, la, la. And the other school of thought was that you are reborn. So basically when you pass, there's this thing called reincarnation. And my whole world perked up and I was like, reincarnation? Wow, that's absolutely logical. Of course, that's what happens. So to me, the whole heaven thing just wasn't working for me. And so I started to read a lot, and I've started to delve into the world. I think one of the first things I started to read about was Edgar Cayce. I was fascinated by Edgar Cayce and how he would go to sleep and come back into the world and speak with another voice, basically, and cure thousands and thousands of people all over the country and the planet, actually. So I've just read a lot about that and anything I could get my hands on about the occult. And I think when I was 15, how things fall into your hands, right? Miraculously. I read The Nature of Personal Reality, a Seth Speaks book, which was, nobody was reading that book. I was kind of pretty weird in that I was, even looking into this stuff. So that was the beginning. And then when I was younger, actually, my mother had taken me to Lincoln Center, had a New Age kind of church in New York City, because I grew up in New York City. And I was exposed to music at a very young age. So I'm jumping around a little bit, but the music was already such a big part of my world. Already at 8 years old, I knew I could sing. So my parents got me piano lessons. So I studied piano until I was like 21. And then I started studying voice when I was 13. And, you know, my piano teacher, she was the one who discovered I had a great voice. So I guess sound has always been just something that I was sensitive to. But I'd never really looked at sound as the sound. I looked at sound as music, which is an amazing healing tool. Everyone knows that music heals.
Absolutely, yeah, I agree.
And you're right, it's such a gift. But I had never really correlated that. I just was on my path, you know, la la la, singing all the different things that I was singing, discovering every style of music I could possibly sing. And you are correct. When as a young singer, I had to sing everything to survive as a singer. So I sang pop, I sang rock, I sang in Italian. I moved to Italy when I was 22 or 23, and I stayed there for 15 years. So a good chunk of my life was living in Europe, traveling around, singing everywhere, Holland, Germany,
Wow,
of course.
amazing.
Yeah, I worked on cruise ships. So I did everything that you could possibly do. I sang, I think I've sung in like maybe 8 or 9 languages. Just a very curious person, I guess I've always been. And the things that science can't figure out always appeals to me.
I guess because it's quite, I've heard that quite a lot with amongst my friends and people I know about their, I guess they call it an awakening. They have this, I guess, quite a significant event or traumatic event that I guess prompts the questioning and
Right.
what is life about? And it's really inspiring to hear that your mother gave you those words of wisdom to kind of fuel you to move on, and you have sound and singing as your, I guess, way to express yourself in the world. And how did you get on to access consciousness?
Oh, right. So I had been working, I was, other than, you know, of course, I knowing so much about music, I can also teach. I also teach music. I teach voice. I can teach piano. So I was invited to be a choir director at a Unity church, which, and if any of you know, Unity is a New Age church. And so I was really excited about it because I'd been doing all of my studying on my own and I hadn't really talked to other people who were doing what I was doing. So I was like, yeah, I'm going to be a choir director. So I was a choir director. And of course, it was a huge church. It was a 900-seat church in Miami. And you've got to go check it out. It's still there. It's Unity on the Bay. It's a great church. It's a great place to go to zen in, as I'd like to say. And while I was there, I mean, I did a lot of studying of the Unity principles, and then I did different courses. And of course, being choir director, everybody knew who I was, and they would bring pamphlets. Karen, check out my Talk to Your Angels class. Karen, check out my emotional release class. Check out my numerology class, and all these things but nothing was really piquing my interest until one day when one of my best friends, Maurizio, my Italian friend in Miami, he came to rehearsal and he was like totally chill. He was so relaxed. And I was like, Maurizio, are you like taking tranquilizers, Ritalin, something? And he said it, because he's usually ADHD. He's usually bouncing off the walls and talking 10,000 words a minute, but he was so calm. And I looked at him and I was like, wow, what? He said, what did you do? He said, I took this course. I really can't explain it. Now you have to understand he's extremely intelligent. I mean, genius. And he couldn't explain it. He said, they asked all these questions and I got chills up my spine. And the guy said these words in this weird order. And I got chills up my spine. I said, you got chills up your spine from words? I said, come on, you're pulling my leg. And he said, and I learned this technique called the bars. If you want to experience it, I'll give you a session. And I was like, yeah, absolutely. So I had the session. And nonetheless, after even just seeing him, I said, I'll have what he's having. Whatever that is, that's what I want to try. I want to go that direction. And that opened the door to Access Consciousness, of which was a good 14 years ago that I first began Access. I loved it really from the first day. I became an Access facilitator within 6 months. And I was the first one to take it to Italy. I was the first one to translate it into Italian. And then I took it to Korea, first one to bring it to Korea, did some of the first classes in Korea, obviously not in Korean, but exposed it to Korea. I also probably was one of the first to start having bars exchanges in Japan as well when I went to Tokyo. So it's always been there. My music has always been up front, and the other stuff has been, my search or my seeking has
Mm,
always been in the background, and now it's moving to the foreground. So
wow.
it's quite fascinating
And wearing
still.
those many different hats, and it's quite interesting because I was hearing another interview, and I really like this question: is there anything you thought um, like teaching or access or something would be like, but it didn't, but it isn't? I guess what I'm saying is that there's a lot of people think that, oh, you're doing it, or you know how to do it, you seem really confident, but they don't. Sometimes they don't see the nervousness or inside, or the fuck ups we might have had in the past.
Right.
It's just like, hang on, there's, as the explorer of consciousness, when we navigate our way through life, it's not always perfect. There are things that come up. Is there anything?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I are you kidding me? I've had lots of bumps and hurdles, and am I getting this right? Is this what needs to be heard? Am I guiding this person in the right way? Am I guiding myself? What do I need to work on myself that perhaps I'm not seeing clearly, and just keep asking for greater clarity and just to be more aware. That's really one of my biggest things is, what's it going to take to be more aware? Universe, can you help me out here? I'd like to really be more aware so that I can be a better teacher or a better person, and to expand myself in a way that connects with this moment in time and space, because we are all here at this moment in time and space to be a part of, I think, of this shift. And how much more, and yes, absolutely, there are moments where I'm like, God, I don't know, I feel like really crappy and uncomfortable, and I don't know if I'm getting this, if I'm exactly where I should be. I think that's absolutely normal. I mean, even in the Bible, they talk, when Jesus questions God, I think that is like human. It's just something that we do, and I think you should be. I don't think anybody is that friggin' confident,
I
unless
think that just
unless
needs
maybe
to be said,
someone
because there's a
with
lot of
orange
people that, I
hair.
guess, dare not move forward, right? With,
Oh,
they want to be the life coach, or they want to do the healing, or they want to become a sound healer, or whatever it is, there seems
right.
something that's stepping out because they're looking at other people going, well, they've got it made. I can never be that, and kind of
Uh,
almost push it away. Um,
right.
and so it's like, when we do, like, we all have our little ups and downs. Like, what tool do you have, a favorite tool you
Oh,
use?
right. My favorite tool. Well, Access, it really has a slew of tools. It's one of the reasons why it's such a great modality. Whether you continue to go to the classes or not, if you go to like the initial classes, they are a beautiful foundation for having a great toolbox to get you out of your own head. And I think one of my great go-tos is, who does this belong to, and how does it get any better? And who does this belong to, or is this mine, has to be the question of the century. like because we are so trained, once we talked about that in sound too, is that we get on a path with others, so we're like picking up so much information from so many different people, not only from now but from the past. Even your memories are, who does it belong to, from when you bought it from a whole nother era. So it's such a great question. It really pulls you out of it. And even the other day I was head tripping around why I hadn't heard from this woman who was in my class. And I was like, I don't understand why she didn't call me. Then I went through this whole process of, what did I do in the class? Did I say something I shouldn't have said? Did I? And then I said to myself, I can't control other people's emotions. I can't be in control of what someone thinks. I can only be in control of what I think, and I can only be in my head. And it took me a while. Do you know, the next day it was a complete, like, her Wi-Fi wasn't working, and that's why she didn't write to me. I went on a complete total head trip. Luckily the tools, if I didn't have the tools to remind me, so who does this belong to? This isn't yours. You're creating a mole out of a molehill. What is it? Right, a mountain out of a molehill.
Yeah.
And it's not. You're tripping. And I had to take a walk and ask myself a gazillion questions.
That's great. Yeah, it's just that way of kind of getting a different perspective, because we all do that. We kind of go into this head spin, and
Yes.
just kind of try and solve it or deal with it, or then it's like, oh, hang on.
Right. Let's take a step back and look at it from out here. So it's like, it's that interesting point of view once again, right? In Access, there's the whole idea of everything is an interesting point of view. What was a point of view 100 years ago is not the same point of view today. Like a woman couldn't vote 150 and that was the point of view. Today, that point of view is it doesn't exist. So it's always, everything is an interesting point of view. And when you do say that, well, wow, interesting point of view, who does this belong to? It takes you out of your picture. So you're not in your painting, living in your painting with the colors and going, oh my God, you know, you finally can say, oh wait, let me step back and take a look at this.
Fantastic. Thank you for that, Carrie, because it's sometimes like, oh, we're just asking the question to get the awareness of like, the different perspective.
Yes,
then,
yes.
Then you can choose, I guess, makes a different choice or deal with the situation in a different light.
Right, in a different light, from a different perspective. And
Sorry, go on.
No, it's just like, it's like jumping to conclusion is a huge thing that a lot of us do. We go through this whole calculating thing in our brain and think that that's what's really happening. It's like when you see a bag in the center of the road and you think it's a dog. And the closer you get to it, you're like, oh my God, I'm going to hit them. Then it's like, oh, it's a bag.
Absolutely.
Conclusion, right?
It's one of those, I guess it's that trigger response what people talk about, where we've had a situation in our past and we've kind of made this association with certain things. And there's just so many of those in our lives that, you know, to navigate, I guess, through the sometimes minefield or a poppy field. I don't know which one it is.
Depending on the day.
Yeah. So what about, what are you exploring now? So that's just some of the tools you use from Access. So you talked about your singing, your Access. What are you exploring now with
well, you know, I actually I'm still, you know, singing. I'm not singing as often. I really don't feel the pull, which is the strangest thing, because usually when I sing, I'm singing 6 nights a week for an extended period of time. So I've taken some time off. I'm home with my mother a little bit more, and I've been exploring, literally, like you said earlier, and uncovering more of me in the process. And I learned a new technique called ash work, which is ash stands for Advanced Space Healing, by a guy named Rudy Hunter, and he does this technique that's awesome. I took the course, I bought it, I was like, I really want to do this, and so I took it and I love it. It's a great addition to my day, and it's a great addition to my sessions when I work with people. So I also work with, since we took the course together with Jonathan Goldman, I work with tuning forks, and I teach voice as well. So when I'm teaching voice, I use the Access techniques with my students, which obviously the sound of your voice correlates to everything in life. It's like your mirror. So if you're holding on to something, if you're judging yourself, it's all in your voice. So I use.
Are you kind of like combining, like, is singing for you now different with, I guess, these different awarenesses now and different modalities you've been playing in?
Absolutely, because I have my sense of sound is so obviously amplified after years of tuning into it. When I listen to people sing, I'm getting them to uncover their voice, right? To bring out their voice. And what they've covered it with is all of their points of view, their belief systems, their judgments, their conclusions. And I use Access to pop open their boxes, literally. It's a great tool. It's wonderful. And then I also use the tuning forks to start. I calm them down at first, with the tuning forks on each side, just to balance their brains, zen in for a little bit, do a little bit of toning, and then we start. I also recently have started creating something. I was listening to a speaker who was this really wise guy named Bubba, and Bubba's from Texas, and he has this really thick brawl, and he's died about 6 or 7 times, and he's grown back his digits. He's like thrown back 6 digits. He's true. I swear to God, he's really cool. And he worked with Masaru Emoto in Japan for a period of time. So he's been doing these experiments in California with water and grounding mats and all this stuff. And he was talking about orgonite, and he said it a few times, and it was in conversation, and I didn't really give it much attention, but it stayed in my mind, and I was like, orgonite, what is that? Is that like some kind of a rock or gem, a stone? Because I don't know about that stuff. And so I looked it up, and I said, I can make that. So I went out and I bought the materials and I made one.
Wow.
And this is an orgonite. It is a hockey puck tower buster orgonite. It's not very pretty, but you put these near cell towers, and literally it will rebalance the electromagnetic frequencies in your environment. So if you have a computer, you want to have one of these nearby. If you're on your phone a lot, if you have it on your head all the time, we're literally inundated with pollution. So I did a lot of research. I'm a little bit obsessive compulsive that way. And so I started making them. And now I'm making these amazingly beautiful organite.
Pyramids. I have seen, Karen has shown me these before, and it's like I don't think I've seen a pyramid one. They're quite
yeah. I'm in love. So I keep making them, and people keep buying them, and I keep making them, and people keep buying them. and so this has been my latest like adventure. It called me, because I literally was not looking to create an object.
Can you explain more about that? Because that's something you've kind of highlighted on, and there are other explorers out there.
Yeah.
I was like explorers. It's maybe people that are looking for something. It's like, what is it that gives you, I guess, these things come to your life? What do you mean by that?
Well, you know what's funny? Our bodies are these amazing antennae, and we're not always listening to our bodies. Oftentimes, we have our minds. We're in control. We are superior because our minds have the technology and the science. And we read this article and we read this book, and we know better than our bodies. Not true. Your body will knock you on your ass when you are not treating it properly. It will, when it's had enough, you are down for the count.
Yeah, back out, ankle out, you're out.
Exactly. Because when your body says stop, you will stop. So if you have a better relationship with your body and you're listening to your body will guide you and will let you know. Just like when I heard the word orgonite, my body was like, whoop, and I didn't acknowledge it at first. And then I did it again, and I was like, what is this orgonite stuff? So even with access. So my friend is walking in, and I'm like, wow, that actually, your body will feel the joy for you. It's like the cells come alive. And all of us have had those moments when you're like pulled to something. Yeah. And you don't know why. There is no exact reason. Like, even when I first started singing, I just said, I can sing. I was like 8 years old. I can sing. I know how to sing. And I just knew it. And it was that I want to sing. I want to do this because it's fun. Yeah. And my whole body lights up with it.
And that's it. And how many of us actually can listen to, I guess sometimes it's like really in your face, quite obvious, but these are sometimes can be quite subtle, but I know what you mean. For me, it's like a tingly sensation. And yes. The analogy of like, it's like champagne kind of feeling, or is it kind of stale ale, kind of really heavy? Those are kind of the two comparisons of when, like you said, someone says something, it's like, oh, what's that? Or just that one keyword or sentence that pops out of a conversation. You're like, what was that?
Right. What did he just say? Yeah, that was what? Oh yeah, I like that. I want to know more about that. You grab your phone, Google. Tell me what
orgonite is coming to your life, and have you noticed some changes?
Yes, I have noticed a shift. Orgonite literally creates a bubble. It creates a field. It literally expands the frequency of 7.83, which is the Schumann frequency, the frequency of the planet. So having that vibration, things are, yes, I can still get agitated, but basically everything's much calmer. I sleep a lot deeper. I've noticed that I'm receiving more than I was before. There seems to be, I don't know if it's a connection to receiving the information of the orgonite itself, that the orgonite is, I don't know. I can't actually put it into words, but I know that that there's something about this little object. I've always had a thing about objects. Like I was on eBay for a period of time. I can find an object and I know that if it's valuable and I can sell it. So I had done that for a period of time, but that took up a lot of my time to find the right object. So I kind of just like left it behind. But now I'm creating my own objects, which I find a lovely transition from the love of objects to creating your own object.
Yeah, I guess that's a reminder of sometimes we, it's great to have be able to, I guess, get the end product to be part, but to be part of that creative process.
Yes, yes.
Is it quite satisfying for you through that whole production?
It's creative, and then there's also like this business of wanting to get it out there. So the business is also calling, but this initial phase, I think I discovered it about a month ago. The initial phase has been more about the creation of it, what it requires, the technique, getting comfortable with the technique so it doesn't look like crap. Like my first ones, which didn't come out too bad, but being proud of the product and being proud and knowing that it's got what it's supposed to be, what it was intended for. So that it's got the right amount, the right ratio of metals and the crystal. So it was important to me to be true to the consciousness of it, because everything has consciousness, right? If you write a book, if you write a song, it is not yours. In actuality, it owns you, because you're the one who has to take care of it, right?
Oh, interesting. So you're kind of like the facilitator or the conduit from which that thing wants to be
birthed.
Yes.
Yes. So yes, I give it birth, but it is it itself is telling me, okay, there's more to this. This needs to get out there. This is part of the shift. That's what I'm getting. And I have there are some ideas that keep popping up. But I'm going to tell you, but one of the most amazing things is how deeply you sleep. I thought I was sleeper, I thought so, but
so how can people get a hold of some of these?
Well, you can go to my website. I should have it up and running in a couple of days where people can order it, and I will send it all anywhere in the world, no problem. But heartsthatsing.com. But if you go on eBay or you go on Amazon, any of these very large companies, you can find Orgonite. It's Orgonite. Okay. Orgone is the same as prana or chi or scalar energy or torsion energy. Any of those, it's just the universal energy is what it is, right?
Awesome. So we can post that. I'll post that in the blog with the details with that. And what else? We've got a few minutes left. I'm just saying, what else are you exploring that's taking you to your edge?
Yes, that's taking me to my edge. It's a great question. I think I'm still fascinated with how you can always go deeper. I've been having regular sound baths every Sunday, and the sound bath has really been my introduction to people for everything that I do. Becoming just more and more aware. How much more aware will I allow myself to be?
Nice.
And what would it take to connect to all of those people who are on a similar paths? Because we need more people doing it, because the request is there. It's growing, because there are a lot of people who are dissatisfied with their lives. There are a lot of people who are miserable and don't see it, And
you mentioned the word shift before. I'm just going to pick up on that. What do you mean by the shift?
Well, the shift in awareness that's happened since 2012, right? Basically, we've been working up the spiritual community, or the New Age community has been, they worked up to 2012. Okay, we have entered. The past is no longer what it was. We do not think in the same way anymore. And literally, I've actually been told that our whole galaxy, is it our galaxy or our solar system, has shifted to the other side of the universe.
Okay.
I don't know if that's true. However, I know that I'm a lot different from what I was, or what I perceived myself to be a good 10, 15, when I first, like right around the time I started with access.
Mm.
So I'm sure that this shift in awareness that so many people are going through, so many people keep asking more questions, so many people are not buying into the rules of the past and wanting something more. Maybe
Yeah,
they don't know what it is,
absolutely.
you
Golly,
know.
thanks for summing up, because there's been a lot of points of view, as you know, around 2012, and from
Mm.
ranging from the cataclysmic end of
Right.
world scenario to the woohoo, let's party, I don't have to do any more work, and everything in between. All the, I guess some people call them the light workers, are like woohoo, and it's like, no, that's when you start doing the work. I don't know.
Right.
But yeah, there was a heap of points of view around 2012 and
Right.
the shift, but I totally agree. It's about, again, it comes back to self and our own personal journeys and the ups and downs of it, and having the tools, which
Right.
I'm so grateful you shared a few, but you've got heaps more um, that you can share. um,
Well, there I think that a lot of each and everyone's journey is individual. Like you have a lot of different tools that you've acquired over the years. I have a lot of different tools I've acquired over the years. um, I think that when you get a group of people, even if it's a small group from 3 to 10 people, there's a synergy that happens. There's a power in these small groups. They may not be 100 people. They could get to that, but I think that um, getting with people who are like-minded or who are asking questions, just people who are asking questions, those are the kind of people you want to start to be around, because at least the question will bring you to more. It'll bring you to greater possibilities. It'll bring you um, to uncovering more of the why we're here. Why are you here? You know.
and it's funny, the tool, I was like, questions is a tool, and someone's been, I went, yeah, it is a tool, and it's free, and it's like, it's just how creative can we be with our questions.
Yes, yes. And how deep? How far do you want to go down the rabbit hole?
Yeah, and it's that inquisitive, daring to explore what you know, daring to explore beyond that as well. Almost kind of, we have our comfort zones, which I'm continually, like you, just kind of keep edging a little bit more. Um, I guess because we know we want better, easier, lighter, and it's just those different ways. And hopefully, by us doing that
Hmm.
it actually inviting other people to join us,
Right.
to
Yes.
co-create this ease of living, and a joyful, a different, something different.
Yes. You know what? It makes me think that what with the shift from 2012, it literally was the shift in frequencies, right? So, what if this reality, without the veils that we've placed, what if it could be literally a utopic, wonderful, continual discovery of more and more, and expansion, um, that it's meant to be,
Mm.
and I think, though, it has to be a choice. If you're not choosing to expand, or consciously choosing, I would really like to expand, I would like to be more,
Mm.
then I don't know. I want to say that I feel sorry for other people, because everyone has choice, and that's fine. Whatever choices other people are making that have nothing to do with this world, because who says this is the only path? There are many paths to greater awareness and consciousness.
Absolutely, and I just got a run through of so many different teachers in my head going, they're going, that we're all consciousness exploring itself. There's a lot of
I
things
love
that
that.
came on, and there's no, everything is valid, and it's just up to us what preference we would like to see in the world, and
Mm,
to allow those that want to play on whatever paradigm that they to be in allowance of that, and go and find the like-minded buddies who want to create the other world that you want, is possible. And
right.
what
Let's
we go
play.
from the other night about I guess using television channels as an analogy, like you can see the TV listings. It may not be your preference, so you don't go and watch it, and you don't go and whatever, record it and indulge in it. Although sometimes we kind of may get swayed into that. Why am I watching this thing? And you're
Right.
like, actually, no, I want to create this new channel. I'm going to watch this Eden channel, or the Living channel, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
And it's
Right.
like, then you have, I guess, people then go, well, what's going on over there? And they take interest, and um, which is why I'm so grateful for people like yourselves that we have connections and chats with. And it is like asking for your vibe tribe to show up is a great tool that
Yes,
I've been
absolutely.
using. So
I like that. I like that. You know, and I live in Las Vegas, where there's, you know, a lot of people think of Las Vegas as a gambling town, and, you know, of sex, drugs, and rock and roll. And it is that. There is that reality for sure. But then if you think about it, you know, who's working on the strip? You've got lots of families. People come here to raise their families. There's lots of jobs. So basically you have the center, the hub of the city is where the sex, drugs, and rock and roll and gambling goes on. And then everything around it is very, actually pretty relaxed and laid back. It's a pretty transient kind of place, but there are a
they
lot
don't
of
show that pit in the movies.
no, they don't. It's interesting because so many people are coming out of the woodwork recently. We have a nice little group that gets together regularly to run bars, which is one of the energy techniques in Access. And then I have my sound bath once a week, and that really has just been spread. I just sent that out to the entire holistic alternative community, and people have been, you know, slowly drizzling in. Um, you know, and I keep asking, okay, so what else? What else is possible here in this desert where there a lot of crazy things have happened? You know, in Vegas, they did a lot of experimenting with bombs and things. So there's a lot of energy that's being shifted by a lot of the energy that of the people that come here that are doing a
Wow.
lot of energetic work. So it's an interesting place to see from that perspective, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Gosh. Um, we're nearly wrapping up now, but I just want to end with if there's one piece of advice you'd tell other explorers out there
Hmm.
that would help them to live their greatness, what would that be? I'll put them on the spot.
I would say be true to yourself. Don't buy into the bullshit. We buy a lot of crap, you know, we buy information without asking questions. So literally, I would say continue to trust trust what works for you. If it works for you, it works for you. If it's not working, don't do it. Don't do it because your buddies are doing it. If you're in a great group and some people are making other choices, let them make those choices and you do what works for you, because that's what's going to create the cooperation, the co-creation to a beautiful utopic harmony. You know, I know that that's possible without you having to say no to what you want to do. So do what works for you, and keep uncovering the wonder and magic that you be, because
Oh,
there's plenty of it and you are it. So that's the advice I would give.
thank you so much, Karen. And how can people find you? I'm going to list them on the blog as well, but where's a
Uh,
good starter for people can find you?
you can find me at my website, heartsthatsing.com. That's my woo-woo website. And my well, it's not all woo-woo, but it's woo-woo. It's still woo-woo. And then my professional singing page is KarenJonesLive.com.
But not so woo.
That's woo-woo. The jazz singer or whatever singer, I sing everything. And then on Facebook, I have several pages. I know that Yile has posted several of them. I'm also a poet. I like to post other people's poetry as well. Little snippets, beautiful, beautiful flavors to taste. So I have Karen Jones Sound Illuminations on Facebook, and I got Point of View, Point of Me, Karen Jones, my regular page on Facebook, and Video Poessence, which is my poetry page. And then, of course, you can just write to me at karenjoneshts@gmail.com. That's a good place to find me. Easy to remember. Karen Jones HTS, Hearts That Sing. So it's easier.
So yeah, I'll post those as well on the different social media websites. You can also check in our conversations on Sound. Sounds good to me.
Sounds good to me.
Sounds where we co-host a chat and conversation all about sound, funny enough. And just look out for more conversations with, because this is just the start of many, and I really enjoyed how this conversation went. So thank you very much, Karen, for joining us.
Thank you. It's a pleasure. I adore you. We have been communicating back and forth over the ocean for a while now, and I love it. And our next one is what did we say? July 11th, Wednesday, July 11th.
July the 11th or 12th,
So
of course, in New Zealand.
12th in New Zealand. Yes.
So until then, thank you and ta-ta.
Hey, I wish you all the best with your conversations.